3/3 quiet rancher and 2 Apache women, but they learned fast that this land wasn't theirs to take. By sunset, the survivors fled. Eli stood bleeding but alive, watching the horizon burn red. Noya came to his side, face streaked with ash. "The land is safe, for now," she said. Sahila placed her hand on his arm, whispering, "You were never alone, Eli Ward. You only needed to remember who you are." For the first time in years, Eli smiled, a rare, quiet smile that reached his eyes. He looked out across the wide open plains, where the sun melted into gold and the wind carried the songs of the Apaches. He had come to protect 2 widows, but he had found something greater, a purpose, a home, and perhaps even love that spoke not in words, but in loyalty and fire. As night fell, the 3 of them sat by the campfire, flames reflecting in their eyes. Eli said softly, "Maybe being alone was never meant for me. Maybe this was the life the desert wanted me to find." The fire cracked, and somewhere in the wind, it seemed that Chief Taz's spirit whispered his approval. 2/3 under steel tracks in greed. He had spent years trying to forget the world, but now, the world had come for him again. The 2 Apache widows, each strong in her own way, stood beside him, silent allies in the fight to come. As the fire crackled, Sahila whispered, "Maybe the spirits brought you here not for us, but for what's still to come." And deep down, Eli knew she was right. The lone rancher's quiet life was over. The desert was calling him once more, not to survive, but to protect. If you love powerful tales of the Wild West filled with mystery, honor, and destiny, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us for the next chapter of this incredible days turned into nights, and nights into a storm of trouble. Eli Ward stood his ground at the edge of the chief's land, rifle across his arm, watching the horizon for the men who called themselves Western Rail and Company. They came with papers, lawmen, and guns, claiming the land belonged to no one. But Eli knew better. This was Apache ground, sacred and paid for in blood. And he wasn't about to let them take it without a fight. Noya rode with him each dawn, her bow slung across her back, her eyes sharper than any rifle sight. She moved like the wind, silent, deadly, loyal. Sahila, on the other hand, kept to the camp, tending the horses and carving symbols into the sand, protection marks, she said. "Spirits of the land listen when men stop talking," she'd whisper. Eli began to see the truth of her words. The more he listened, the more the desert spoke, coyotes crying warnings, wind whistling through skull-shaped rocks, storms rising without reason. Something was shifting in the bones of the land itself. One evening, they found a burned totem near the border of Taz's land. A message from the railroad men, "Get out or die." Noya wanted to strike first, but Eli stopped her. "You fight with your heart," he said, "but we need to fight with our heads." She glared, but said nothing. That night, Eli rode alone into the nearby town of Dry Mesa, where the company's camp was. He saw their tents, their guards, their whiskey barrels, and overheard the foreman bragging that the land would be cleared within the week. "That half-breed chief is dead," the man laughed. "And his women? They'll follow soon enough." Eli's hand went to his revolver. For a long moment, he wanted to end it right there. But Taz's voice echoed in his mind, "A man's spirit is measured by what he protects." So he waited, watching, learning their movements. When he returned to camp, he told the women, "They're coming at dawn." And Noya smiled coldly. "Then we'll be ready." When the sun rose, the first riders came. They found the path blocked by rocks, traps laid in the sand, and smoke curling from hidden fires. Noya and Sahila fought like spirits of vengeance, arrows flying from the cliffs. Eli rode through the chaos, rifle blazing, the desert erupting with dust and fury. The railroad men didn't expect resistance, least of all from one. 1/3 for 10 long years, Eli Ward lived alone on the edge of the Arizona desert, his ranch standing silent beneath the burning sun. Folks in town called him the Lone Rancher, a man who spoke little, trusted no one, and rode alone through storms of dust and memory. They said he had once been a soldier, but he had seen too much blood on both sides of the frontier wars. What no one knew was that Eli had once been saved by an Apache chief named Taza Red Hawk, a man who had spared him when vengeance could have demanded his death. That act of mercy had forged a bond deeper than friendship, one that destiny would awaken again after years of silence. It was late autumn when the letter arrived, carried by an old Indian messenger who rode from the mountains with weary eyes. Chief Taza Red Hawk has crossed into the spirit world, the man said. He left behind 2 widows, and his will. Eli didn't understand at first. His will, he repeated, confused. The messenger nodded solemnly. You, white man, are chosen. His wives belong to you now. His blood debt, paid in honor. And before Eli could say another word, the man turned and vanished into the red horizon. Eli didn't sleep that night. The flames in his fireplace flickered against the walls as he sat, staring into the past. He remembered the time he had been wounded during a raid when Taza had found him, patched his bleeding leg, and carried him to safety instead of leaving him to die. They had shared fire and silence for 3 days, and when Eli left, Taza said, "A man's spirit is measured not by what he kills, but by what he protects." Those words had followed Eli every day since. Now that same man had left behind 2 wives, Noya and Sahila, and for reasons unknown, had named Eli as their guardian. The next morning, Eli saddled his horse, Ashwind, and rode toward the Apache lands, the mountains rising like old gods before him. The trail was harsh, marked by windswept canyons and whispering ghosts of the past. When he reached the tribal village, he was met with silent stares and guarded eyes. 2 women stood by the fire, one tall and fierce, the other quiet and graceful. Noya's gaze was sharp as a hawk's, her black hair braided in silver cords of mourning. Sahila stood behind her, delicate but strong, her voice like a stream through stone when she finally spoke. "You are the man our chief trusted," she said softly. "He said you walk with the desert's spirit." Eli bowed his head, unsure what to say. "I didn't come here for anyone's wives," he said quietly. "I came to honor a friend." Noya stepped forward, eyes glinting. "Then honor him as he wished. Protect us, and the land he left. The white man's hunger will soon come for it." Eli didn't understand what she meant until he saw the smoke rising beyond the ridge. A railroad company was moving west, and Taza's land lay right in its path. That night, as the wind howled across the mesas, Eli